Okay, so we've all had one, right? That perfectly soft, warm, fluffy, steamed bun you get at a breakfast spot or a dim sum restaurant. It's a hero. But what if I told you that behind that humble, delicious exterior lies this surprisingly dramatic and honestly pretty intense origin story? Yeah, that's what we're sinking our teeth into today. And no, I am not kidding. Human heads. It sounds completely insane, right? But this unassuming little snack has a history that's all wrapped up in military strategy, ancient rituals, and, believe it or not, a brilliant act of compassion. So, how in the world did we get from a gruesome offering to a culinary classic? Let's find out. To really get the story of the Baozi, we have to jump in a time machine and go back almost 2,000 years, back to a time of major conflict and legendary heroes in China. You see, this story doesn't begin in a kitchen. Nope, it begins on a battlefield. So, meet our main character, the master strategist Zhuge Liang. We're in the middle of the super chaotic Three Kingdoms period, and he's leading his army home after a successful campaign way down south. But there's a problem. To get home, they have to cross the treacherous Lu River, and that's where he runs into a huge and very grim obstacle. The river was raging, and local tradition said that the only way to calm the angry river god was with a sacrifice of human heads. Now, Zhuge Liang was known for being a pretty compassionate leader, and there was absolutely no way he was going to sacrifice his own men. So, he's stuck. He has to honor the custom, but without all the bloodshed. So, what does a genius strategist do? He comes up with a genius solution, of course. He ordered his cooks to take flour, shape it into round forms that looked like human heads, and then stuff them with beef and mutton. These fake heads were then steamed and offered to the river god. And you know what? It worked. The army crossed safely, and in the process, a totally iconic food was born. And get this, the original name for these buns was mantou, which literally translates to barbarian's head. I mean, it was a pretty literal name for a literal substitute, right? It was a direct reference to the southern tribes his army had just been fighting. Over time, the written character for barbarian was swapped with another one that sounded the same, which is how we got the modern word mantou. So, for a really long time, mantou meant these filled buns. But if you order a mantou today, you'll probably get something plain, right? No filling. So, what happened? Let's take a look at the Great Bun Divide. For hundreds of years after Zhuge Liang's clever trick, the terms were pretty much interchangeable. But as food does, it evolved. And a new distinction started to pop up during the Song Dynasty, which was about 1,000 years ago. People started to get a bit more specific. This is where the term Baozi enters the scene. Bao literally means to wrap, so it's a super direct name for the filled version. And that left the original name, mantou, to refer only to the simple, plain, unfilled steamed bun that we know today. So the most important thing to remember is this. Baozi is filled, mantou is plain. Okay, let's fast forward to right now, to the modern day, where the Baozi has just exploded into a whole universe of flavors. And really, there's no better place to explore that universe than Taiwan, where making Baozi is a true culinary art form. On the savory side, you have the absolute legends. There's the fresh meat bun, or xianrou bao, which is the undisputed king of breakfast, just packed with juicy pork. Then you got the vegetable bun, or cai bao, a really crisp, clean classic. And you absolutely cannot forget the iconic Cantonese char siu bao with that glossy, sweet and savory barbecue pork filling. Oh man. You ever wonder how those meat buns get so incredibly juicy, like soup dumpling level juicy? Well, here is the secret. It's a technique called da shui. Chefs will slowly whip broth into the ground meat filling. The meat absorbs all that liquid, which then turns into steam when it's cooked, creating that incredible burst of savory soup when you take a bite. It's genius. But the innovation doesn't stop with savory. The sweet buns are just as legendary. You've got the golden, molten, creamy custard bun that spills out like lava. There's the dense and comforting taro paste bun. It's like a warm hug. The timeless red bean paste bun. And for a truly modern twist, there's even a bubble tea bun, complete with tapioca pearls inside. It just goes to show how creative this simple food can be. So, are you feeling inspired? Maybe a little hungry? Well, making incredible Baozi at home is totally achievable, but only if you know the 3 essential secrets. So let's go from just an eater to a creator. It really all comes down to these 3 stages. You have to nail the dough, perfect the filling, and master the final steam. If you can get these right, you are well on your way to Baozi mastery. First up, the dough. After its first rise, its little beauty sleep, you need to knead it again. And don't be shy about it. The whole point is to push out all the big air bubbles. This is the secret to getting that perfectly smooth, delicate skin instead of one that's kind of cakey. Okay, second secret, the filling's juicy magic. We're back to da shui. When you're making your meat filling, you add your broth or water a little bit at a time and you stir continuously in just one direction. You keep going until the meat gets kind of sticky and has absorbed every last drop. That is how you lock in all that moisture. And finally, the gentle finale. This is actually a two-part secret. First, once you've shaped your buns, just let them rest for about 20 minutes before you put them in the steamer. This is like a second proof. Then, and this is so crucial, after they're cooked, turn off the heat, but leave the lid on for another 3 to 5 minutes. That gradual temperature change is what prevents the dreaded collapse, and it keeps your buns perfectly plump and fluffy. So the next time you pick up a warm, fluffy steamed bun, just remember its incredible journey. It went from a life-saving deception on a riverbank 2,000 years ago to a beloved comfort food enjoyed in countless ways all over the world today. It's so much more than just a snack. It's a character full of history, ingenuity, and, of course, delicious stories. It really makes you wonder, what other everyday foods have such an epic past?